Hello, welcome to IT career training video. So today we are going to talk about the release manager. Now this is a set of videos which we are using to cover the different IT careers. So if you haven't seen the other videos, please go through them and you should follow them in sequence. So the release manager job is to release the software across different environments. Now what does that mean? As you see in our developer and QA, so the way software gets developed and reaches the end user is first the developer develops, then the QA tests, and then it gets to the end user. So these are you can call dev bucket. You can say this is sort of a QA bucket, and this is the end user. So software development is some sort of a complex process because it involves lots of files. In a typical environment there could be 1,000 or 2,000 or even more files, which has a lot of code, and then it could have also the different types of codes. So you need a special type of person whose job mainly focused so that take all these sets of files, which could be text file, which could be compiled executables, and then make sure they go from one environment to another environment, and also manage the process, and also make sure that everywhere the quality is maintained. So for example, if from the development and then the QA, if there are bugs or something and it doesn't get solved, then release manager has to keep a track on that so that it doesn't get released to the end user. So end user environment is sometimes called production. So this is a dev environment, then there is a QA environment, and then there is end user, which is a production environment. So release manager job is to release the set of softwares across these environments. Now this is again a sort of less technical role. It doesn't definitely involve programming. Sometimes there are tools, special tools which are used to remove software from one place to another. So a lot of times release manager does that job. So one aspect of release manager job I have seen is, sometimes it may involve working in odd hours, because typically the software gets released when people are not actively engaged, because you cannot definitely release software unless special circumstances right in the middle of the day where people could be using it. So typically release process happens in the night, and so that the next morning people wake up and then use the latest version of the software. So that's that's something to think about. But otherwise, if you are a person who want to be in IT but don't want to do programming, release manager could be a good way to start with. So that's sort of all the engineering roles within an IT organization. So we have developer, QA, UI design, administration. To high level, this developer, this segment has a lot of jobs and has a lot of career growth. QA also has, because it is close to the development. Now I have seen people start with development, move to QA, or a lot of times people move from QA to the development for better salaries and for better prospects. I also have seen people moving from developer to the administration. So let's say you start with maybe a database developer and you move into DBA. So again, even though there are a lot of roles, but there are a lot of movements happen within the roles as people move up, or their preference of the type of jobs they want to do, or the career path they want to take. It moves quite frequently. And so one example could be that a developer, a good developer, if he wants to move into the management and there is no position open here, then he may try opting for a QA manager role. And same thing with developer to administration, where typically administration role jobs, even though they are not that many within a company. So typically, let's say if you have a 30 persons engineering organization, you typically probably have 15 to 18 developers. Again, this is a ballpark estimate which I have seen in my my career, but it varies. So 15 to 18 developers, maybe 5 to 6 QAs, probably a couple of UI designers, and probably 4 or 5 administration. So let me write that. Maybe this is could be 4, this could be 2, this could be maybe 5, and this could be 19. So this is sort of in a 30% engineering organization. So I think that sort of gives, hopefully gives a good overview. Then there is non-engineering. So the non-engineering typically are which involves in a very broad way non-programming work. So it doesn't have to really sit and write code. So non-engineering type of sometimes in a IT organization, even non-engineering also report to some higher VP of engineering. I have seen that, but non-engineering could be also report to something VP of, let's say, products, and this probably would be engineering would be reporting to VP of engineering. But sometimes you may not, in a smaller company you may not have two VPs, so they can report also to the VP of engineering. And the reason being is that these jobs, these people pretty intensely interact with the engineering people. So here also a lot of times some companies only recruit people if they have an MBA or some sort of higher level degree. Sometimes if MBAs can be replaced with maybe years of experience, but again, different companies have different policies around getting product manager or or the roles around this. So non-engineering roles, again, there are different types. One is product manager, then there is project manager, and then you may have heard something called program manager. So essentially these product manager and program manager, these sort of roles involves writing you can say functional spec or specification for the product. So for example, typically the way it would happen is that, let's say if a company wants to, let's say if Oracle, sorry, let's say if or if a consumer web, if a company wants to come up with a new social networking product, so a product manager's job is to really figure out what is that product which people would love to use, and then really writing a specification for it. So that means what are the features it has, what are the what the product broad level would do, and then once he will get that and he will present it to sort of get an approval that that's the right product to build, and then he will talk to the UI designer if it is a web product to build the basic mock-ups to show that how the product would look like. And then when those UI design would get approved, then it probably goes to the developer, this organization, who would really writing the technical specification, that what technologies to use, how to use, and then start building the product. So again, product manager is kind of an important role, because you sometimes in some organization, product manager is sort of the master of the product. It not only decides what features to build, but also is responsible for the success or failure or revenue of the product. In some other organization, product manager is a little bit probably a role where you just involved in getting the requirement from some other organization like marketing or sales, and then really writing the specifications. So there is something called PRD, which is called product requirement document, and you can check in the web. So there's a standard template. So it has basically, it is so a product manager typically writes PRDs, which details the how what the product would look like, what the product features is in a detail level. Program manager, similar role. They don't write as much as PRDs, but program manager is typically if you have program manager, I think this definition came from Microsoft. So let's say if you are, Microsoft has lots of program managers. That's what I heard. So if you are in a certain product, and then you want to make sure your engineering, your and your customers, everybody is happy, and then they have, they have the good, everybody is sort of, there is no problem. So that's the program manager is that sort of role, program manager. So it involves a little bit, probably sometimes it involves a little bit technical work. I mean, more than product manager. Okay, so the time is up. So we'll continue from the next video. Thank you.